One of the best things about being a fan of the theme park industry is that things are always changing and evolving. Every year, we see new, fantastic, and innovative ideas come to life at theme parks all over the world. And it looks like 2023 is no exception. Good day, everyone. My name is Parker, and this episode of Theme Park Parlay will be our annual episode where we discuss every new roller coaster, ride, attraction, themed land, and entirely new theme parks coming around the world in 2023. In this installment, we'll be focusing on additions coming to theme parks across North America, as well as a few international projects from Disney and SeaWorld. There are so many cool things that I'm looking forward to this year, so without any further ado, let's talk theme parks! Alright, as I've done in previous years, we're going to be breaking things down by chain, starting with one of my personal favorites, Cedar Fair. Kicking things off with my own home park of Canada's Wonderland, 2023 is actually going to be a pretty big year for the park, as we're getting not just one, but two unique new attractions. The first of which will be a flat ride called Tundra Twister, which will be the first ever Mondial Avalanche. This 360-degree spinning swing ride will flip and spin riders along 3 axes of rotation. Reaching heights of 47 meters and speeds of 75 kilometers per hour, this unique contraption will solidify Canada's Wonderland's unofficial title as the flat ride capital of the world, and will be a welcome addition to the Frontier Canada area. Wonderland will also be receiving its 18th roller coaster this year, with Snoopy's Racing Railway, a family launch coaster from Arts Engineering. Reaching speeds of 50 kilometers per hour, this runaway train will navigate dips and turns as it narrowly escapes traps set by Woodstock and the Bad Seed Gang. We really needed something new in the family coaster department here at Wonderland, so I think this is going to be a fantastic addition for the park. Moving on to Cedar Point, the park has been preparing to open a reimagined boardwalk area. This new-ish land will pay homage to the park's 153-year history, and will capture what the classic Cedar Point boardwalk would have been like in its heyday. The crowning jewel of this renovation is, of course, the addition of the new Wild Mouse coaster from Zamperla. Unlike the original Wild Mouse, which operated at Cedar Point from 1959 to 1963, the 2023 version will feature spinning cars, 6 of which will be themed to mice, plus one already iconic cheese car, which will also be accessible for guests with disabilities. Anchoring the boardwalk will be Cedar Point's Grand Pavilion, which again will pay homage to the original Grand Pavilion that first made its debut in 1888. This multi-story space will feature a restaurant serving unique dishes like Lake Erie Perch, a Lakeview bar, and plenty of indoor and outdoor seating. The Matterhorn and Scrambler will also be relocated to the boardwalk, with the Scrambler receiving a complete facelift to become the Atomic Scrambler. Tiki Twirl will also revert back to its classic name of Calypso. We have 2 parks in the Cedar Fair chain celebrating their 50th anniversaries this year, and both are celebrating the occasion with some noteworthy additions. Carowinds will be introducing the all-new Aeronautica Landing, an aviation-themed area that will celebrate the spirit of adventure and innovation that made world history in the Carolinas. The new land will see the addition of 6 new flat rides. Air Racer is Zamperla Air Race, Gear Spin is Zamperla Nebulas, Hover and Dodge, a retheme of their old bumper cars attraction, Airwalker is Zamperla Disco, Gyro Force, a Trabant-style ride, and, although it hasn't officially been announced yet, rumors point to a Zamperla Windstar Z. The Aeronautica Landing Game Zone will upgrade classic carnival games to test the skills of emerging pilots, while a new restaurant will offer a unique selection of craft beers. Existing dining and snack locations will also receive a refresh. Aeronautica Landing will be the 4th rethemed area to be introduced at Carowinds since the county fair debuted back in 2017, and it perfectly matches up with Cedar Fair's trend of adding relatively immersive themed lands across the chain. Worlds of Fun will also be celebrating their 50th with the addition of Zambezi Zinger, a GCI wooden coaster named after the park's original Zambezi Zinger, a Schwarzkopf jumbo jet that operated from 1973 to 1997. Although this new incarnation of the ride will be nothing like the original, both rides will share the unique feature of having a spiral lift hill. Zambezi Zinger will also differ from most other wooden coasters out there by featuring GCI's Titan track on some segments of the ride. Outside of these new additions, Carowinds and Worlds of Fun haven't announced much in terms of how they'll be celebrating their golden anniversaries, but I imagine unique food, beverage, merch, and entertainment offerings will be on the horizon. Kings Island is also introducing a new themed land this year with Adventure Port. This new land will expand on the story of Adventure Express. As it goes, explorers frequently travel to Adventure Port in search of a forbidden temple, but often disappear for reasons unknown. As guests become explorers and visit the land for themselves, they'll find two new rides. Soul Spin, a Zamperla Endeavor, and Cargo Loco, a teacup-style attraction themed to shipping barrels. Of course, the re-theme will also be anchored by a reimagining of the classic Adventure Express roller coaster. And you can't introduce a new themed land without introducing new food and beverage offerings, so Adventure Port will see the beer garden transformed into the Mercado, while Hank's Mexican Grill will become a new quick-service restaurant called Enrique's. The last new addition for Cedar Fair this year is Montezuma, the Forbidden Fortress, at Knott's Berry Farm. This reimagining of Montezuma's Revenge was supposed to open last year, but seems to have been pushed to 2023. This new version of the ride will feature a randomized sequence of forwards and backwards launches, new trains from Kumbike featuring over-the-shoulder restraints and onboard lighting, and of course, new special effects and theming that will tell the story of Montezuma's hidden treasure and those who have tried to find the Aztec Emperor's riches over the years. This will also be accompanied by a complete overhaul to the surrounding Fiesta Village area, which will see the addition of all new theming elements. I've always admired the theming of Knott's, but it's still great to see that the park is continuing to invest in improvements, making their lands even more immersive. Okay, moving on to Six Flags, we really don't have a lot to talk about, at least compared to previous years where we saw new additions at every single park in the chain. The most notable additions will be two single-rail racing coasters coming to Six Flags Fiesta Texas and Six Flags Over Georgia. Both of these announcements were made very late into the season and were kind of a surprise to everyone. We don't know too much about these rides yet, we don't even have names for them at this point, but we do know that they will be the world's first installations of the Pescetti Bowl from Skyline Attractions. The compact layout of these coasters will occupy a space of 79 by 162 feet, and a single-rail, weld-free track will cross over itself a total of 11 times. 2023 will also be the year we finally see Aquaman Power Wave open at Six Flags Over Texas, after originally being announced for the 2020 season. And Predator at Six Flags Darien Lake will be receiving more Titan track from GCI before the park opens for the season. Moving on to the Herschend family entertainment chain, we have to give a big shout out to Dollywood and their new coaster, Big Bear Mountain. This Vekoma family coaster will feature 3 launches, and with 3,390 feet of track, it will be Dollywood's longest coaster to date. It will also be Dollywood's first coaster with onboard audio, featuring music and announcements from Ned Oakley himself, who will guide guests around the mountains of Wildwood Grove as they embark on their expedition to find the Big Bear. I think this will be an excellent addition for the park. I know enthusiasts may not find family coasters particularly exciting, but they are crucial additions for any park. Also, not every coaster has to be super intense and full of airtime. Sometimes, fun for the sake of fun is equally effective. So yeah, I can't wait to experience Big Bear Mountain for myself one day. Next, let's talk about Palace Entertainment and their 2023 additions. I think the most notable one here is Kennywood, who will be adding Spinvasion. On this ride, guests will board their very own spacecraft as they join the battle for the Berg. Spinvasion will be a Zamperla Griffin, and the park is touting it as the first multi-action spinning ride of its kind in the United States. Spinvasion will be located where Volcano used to be, and it will also be accompanied by Area 412, a new spaceport-themed land where Earthlings and friendly extraterrestrials from planets near and far will prepare for an exciting aerial battle with the evil Crabbots. The land will also include Cosmic Chaos and the Area 412 gift ship. The other Palace Entertainment park seeing new additions this year is Adventureland in Iowa, who will be adding Flying Viking and Dragon Falls. This roller coaster log flume combo from Zamperla will see these two attractions intertwine with each other, offering guests a fun adventure whether they choose to ride by land or sea. I love talking about Disney at the best of times, but that's especially true when it comes to discussing what projects the company's Parks and Resorts division has on the horizon. In late 2023, we should see the completion of the long-in-progress Epcot overhaul, including the Journey of Water inspired by Moana. Located in the World Nature neighborhood, this new walkthrough attraction will allow guests to explore the wonders of water on an interactive walking trail, and trace the journey of water as it travels from the skies to the oceans and back again. Of course, one of the most iconic elements of the new attraction will be a 16-foot tall figure of Te Fiti. Another long-awaited attraction opening this year is Tron Light Cycle Run at Magic Kingdom. A clone of this Vekoma motorbike coaster originally opened with Shanghai Disneyland in 2016, and the Walt Disney World version was announced at the D23 Expo in 2017. Although it took ages to be built, it will finally be coming on board this April 4th. On this high-speed adventure, guests will hop aboard a light cycle before being launched at 95.4 kilometers per hour into the grid, twisting through 3,169 feet of indoor and outdoor segments. We'll also be saying goodbye to two nighttime spectaculars this year, Enchantment at Magic Kingdom and Harmonious at Epcot, which will be replaced by the return of Happily Ever After and Epcot Forever, respectively. Now, I really didn't mind Enchantment, but I have yet to see Happily Ever After in person, and I know that it's a huge fan favorite, so I for one am very excited for the possibility of finally being able to experience it. And although I absolutely adored Harmonious, I am a bit relieved to see that those horrendous barges will be going away for good if all goes according to plan, and all new nighttime spectacular will debut at Epcot by the end of the year. Over on the West Coast, Mickey's Toontown at Disneyland is undergoing a major reimagining. When the land reopens on March 8th, guests will be treated to a variety of interactive and inclusive sensory experiences. Some highlights include grassy play areas like Centennial Park, water play fountains, and a dreaming tree modeled after one that Walt was fond of, complete with sculpted routes for kids to climb over and crawl through. Goofy's How to Play Yard will incorporate a whimsical sound garden and an all-new elevated clubhouse. Inside Goofy's house, guests will find a candy-making contraption with interactive and whimsical play elements. And right next door, Donald's Boat will return as a larger-than-life water play area. Gadget's Go Coaster will also get a refresh, becoming Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster. The highlight of this reimagining is, of course, the addition of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This wacky 2.5D trackless dark ride first made its debut at Hollywood Studios in 2017. And speaking from personal experience, it's insanely fun and a perfect attraction for Disneyland. This ride will be opening on January 28th ahead of the other Toontown attractions. Our last Disney update for 2023 takes us to Hong Kong and Paris, where the first two iterations of Arendelle: The World of Frozen will finally be making their debut towards the end of the year. There will also be a third Arendelle land opening at Tokyo Disney Sea, but that one won't be opening until 2024. Hong Kong Disneyland's version of Arendelle: The World of Frozen will be the largest of the three, and will be the only one to feature the Wandering Oaken Sliding Sleighs roller coaster and the Playhouse in the Woods play area. Paris's version will be opening as part of the multi-year expansion of Walt Disney Studios Park, and both the Hong Kong and Paris versions of the land will feature the Frozen Ever After boat ride that first debuted in Epcot at Walt Disney World. Guests visiting Arendelle will also be able to explore various shops and restaurants like TikTok Toys and Collectibles, Northern Delights, Golden Circus Inn, Bayside Wharf, and Traveling Traders. Naturally, we can't talk about Disney without talking about Universal, and the studios have some very exciting additions planned for the new year. First and foremost is Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Hollywood, the first Nintendo-themed land to open in North America. Although smaller than its counterparts in Universal Studios Japan and the upcoming Epic Universe Park, Hollywood Super Nintendo World will still feature the iconic Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge Dark Ride, along with the Toadstool Cafe restaurant, the One-Up Factory store, and tons of interactive elements. Guests using the Power-Up Band can even unlock the secret Bowser Jr.'s Challenge. Back in Orlando, Universal Studios Florida is getting ready to convert the space previously occupied by Shrek 4D into Illumination's Villain Con Minion Blast. As the name suggests, this attraction will take guests inside Villain Con, the biggest criminal convention on the planet, in an attempt to earn a coveted spot among the notorious supervillain group, the Vicious Six. This interactive attraction will utilize moving platforms to transport guests past screens and physical sets, as they use their blasters to cause as much mayhem and destruction as possible. This ride will open alongside the newly renamed Minion Land on Illumination Avenue, which will now greet guests as they enter the park. The land will also house Minions Cafe and Despicable Me Minion Mayhem, which opened back in 2012. It looks like 2023 will be a major year for SeaWorld Parks and Resorts, with almost every park in the chain receiving something new. I think coaster enthusiasts are going to be most intrigued to see B&M's new surf coaster model finally brought to life at SeaWorld Orlando when they open Pipeline the Surf Coaster this spring. This next generation of the stand-up coaster will differ from its predecessor with 2 abreast seating, standing, I guess, and seats that will move up and down with the motion of the ride to simulate the feeling of riding the waves, which will hopefully make things a little more tolerable for riders with certain body parts. Pipeline the Surf Coaster will also be a launch coaster, reaching speeds of 60 miles per hour and a max height of 110 feet. Its 2,900 feet of track will also include 3 inversions. I'm very excited to see what this ride is like, and I truly do believe that it will solidify SeaWorld's claim as the coaster capital of Orlando. Just down the street, if that's what we want to call a 2-hour drive down I-4, Busch Gardens Tampa is gearing up to open Serengeti Flyer, an S&S screaming swing. I've been on 2 of these rides myself, and they are so freaky, but so fun. So I think this will be a solid addition for the park, especially considering that BGT is desperately in need of more flat rides. With a maximum swing height of 135 feet, Serengeti Flyer will be tied with SeaWorld San Antonio's title surge as the tallest scream and swing ride in the world. Speaking of SeaWorld San Antonio, they're getting ready to open Catapult Falls, the world's first launch log flume. As if that wasn't impressive enough, it will also have the world's steepest drop on a log flume with a 55-degree angle of descent, and it will be the first log flume in North America to use a vertical lift. Sorry, Traffica, you don't count. Manufactured by Intamin, Catapult Falls appears to use a high-speed conveyor belt to launch guests at 30 feet per second over a small airtime hill. There also appears to be a second airtime hill after the main drop. So yeah, this ride is certainly shaping up to be a thrilling take on a classic log flume. My only gripe here is the name. I mean, I'm such a huge proponent of theming, and this just seems very bland and kind of Six Flagsy. Nevertheless, I'm sure the experience will more than compensate for that. SeaWorld San Diego is also set to get a new roller coaster this year with Arctic Rescue. This Intamin motorbike coaster, straddle coaster, will whisk guests off on a snowmobile adventure to rescue some Arctic animals. The ride will feature 3 launches, a top speed of 40 miles per hour, and 2,800 feet of track. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the theming for this ride, and I think it's a good fit considering that it will be replacing the park's Wild Arctic attraction. The only thing I'm confused about here is that the park already has a good family launch coaster with Manta, but I guess the straddle aspect of the ride will make enough of a difference to set it apart. Hey, speaking of made-up names for existing coaster models, Busch Gardens Williamsburg will also be receiving a so-called straddle coaster when they open Dark Coaster. Acting as a sequel to the fan-favorite dark ride Curse of Dark Castle, which operated at the park from 2005 to 2018, this new adventure will also see guests boarding snowmobiles as they return to King Ludwig's abandoned fortress to discover the mystery behind the castle's supernatural forces. Although this has yet to be officially confirmed by the park, rumors point to the use of a switch track that will allow the trains to run 2 circuits around the track while a second train remains in the station. The use of projection mapping and special effects would allow 2 different scenes to be portrayed with each circuit. The park has confirmed that the ride will feature 4 launches and will travel around 2,400 feet of track. Sesame Place San Diego, which just opened on March 26th of last year, is already expanding with the addition of Sunny Day Cafe, a 5,000 square foot dining facility with singing, dancing, and photo ops with beloved Sesame Street characters, and Count Splash Castle, a multi-story water fortress with 111 water play elements and a giant tipping bucket. And finally, making an appearance on this list for the 2nd year in a row is the expected opening of SeaWorld Abu Dhabi. This brand new theme park will be opening on Yas Island, Just northeast of Ferrari World, SeaWorld has licensed their brand to Mural, who is fully funding the project. Highlights of the new park include the world's largest aquarium and 2 new roller coasters, including an intimate multi-launch. SeaWorld Abu Dhabi will be the first SeaWorld park to not house any orcas, but it will be home to 150 species of marine animals like sharks, manta rays, fish, sea turtles, penguins, flamingos, and more. The park will also be accompanied by SeaWorld Research and Rescue Abu Dhabi, the UAE's first dedicated marine research, rescue, and rehabilitation center. While we all love our big theme park chains, I would be remiss not to give a shout out to some very interesting projects from some independent parks around North America. One of the projects I'm most excited for in 2023 is the opening of Wildcat's Revenge at Hershey Park. This RMC iBox hybrid is a conversion of the park's former Wildcat coaster from GCI. The ride had a notorious reputation among the coaster community for being super rough, but I personally found those complaints to be over-exaggerated, and I was actually quite fond of the ride. Nevertheless, I'm always down for an RMC, and I think this one is gonna be good. Hershey Park's latest iteration of Wildcat will be 140 feet tall, have an 82-degree first drop, a top speed of 62 miles per hour, and will twist riders through 4 inversions, including the world's largest underflip, an element that looks insanely fun. Although I was unsure of the name at first, I'm actually a big fan of how it'll continue to honor the legacy of Wildcat, which was also the name of the park's first roller coaster, which was built and operated by Philadelphia Toboggan Company from 1923 to 1945. And that lead car, woo, stunning! But that's not the only new RMC for this year. Air Force One at Fun Spot Atlanta should be ready and open by early March. This ground-up iBox hybrid will be 155 feet tall, 3,400 feet long, and have a drop angle of 83 degrees and a top speed of 64 miles per hour. This ride will also have 4 inversions and tons of airtime, including an absurd-looking quad-down finale. 2023 will be the year that Mattel Adventure Park in Glendale, Arizona opens its gates. The park will have a mix of indoor and outdoor spaces, and highlights will include a Barbie Dreamhouse restaurant and bar, mini golf, go-karts, a Thomas & Friends electric train, and more. The park will also open with 2 roller coasters, the Hot Wheels Twinmo Racer, a Chance Rides Hyper GTX that will stretch over the parking lot, and Hot Wheels Bone Shaker, a Chance Rides family coaster. Mattel Adventure Park will be one of the marquee attractions within the Crystal Lagoons Island Resort, which will also feature themed hotels, an entertainment hub, a 4D flying theater, and a central lagoon surrounded by white sand beaches. Kodoland, a small amusement park located at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, is set to open 2 show-stopping coasters this year. The first is Palindrome, a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster that will feature a 95-foot tall, near vertical first drop, a zero-G stall stretching over the highway, an inline twist, and a vertical spike with a hop stall that sends riders backwards through the layout all over again. We're also expected to get Circuit Breaker this year. Built by Vekoma, this will be the world's second ever tilt coaster, and the first one built since 2002 when Gravity Max opened at Discovery World in Taiwan. Circuit Breaker will feature a section of track that will lift and tilt riders 90 degrees before dropping them into a twisted layout featuring 4 unique inversions. After starting construction over 7 years ago, Primordial at Lagoon will finally be opening at some point this year. This coaster is being built in-house and will feature both indoor and outdoor segments that will weave through a man-made mountain. We don't know too much about the details of this ride yet, but the park claims that it will have an interactive component, and their teaser includes a lot of dragon-related imagery. Any coaster with a good story and theming is noteworthy in my books, so this is definitely one I'll be paying attention to. A few other delayed coasters opening in 2023 include Machugani at Lost Island, an intimate accelerator coaster that previously operated at Liseberg as Kanonen, and American Dreyer Looping at Indiana Beach, a Schwarzkopf triple looping coaster that previously operated in the German Fair circuit before being relocated to Sunway Lagoon in Malaysia, Flamingo Land in the UK, and most recently, Aztalan Park Urbano, where it went by the name Chimera. Niagara Amusement Park in Grand Island, New York, which previously operated as Fantasy Island before being purchased by everyone's favorite small park savior, Gene Staples, may or may not be opening 1 or 2 coasters this year. A yet-to-be-named SDC Galaxy is currently under construction, but they also have a Schwarzkopf shuttle loop in storage. I have no idea when or if they still plan on installing that shuttle loop, but the future of this park will be interesting one way or another. To round out our North American editions, I want to give a shout out to Anakisa in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, who will be adding Hellbender, a Wygand Elven coaster, and Wilderness at the Smokies in Sevierville will be adding a cloud coaster called Rocky Top Glider. As per usual, I rambled on a little too long about these attractions, but can you blame me? There's just so much to look forward to this year. But I think for my sanity and yours, this is a good place to stop. My original plan was to create a part 2 outlining all of the international theme park editions coming this year, but this video alone took a lot of time and energy, and I really want to focus on finishing my summer vlogs and wrapping up season 6. However, I might still share some of those new additions in the form of an Instagram reel or a TikTok later this week, so keep an eye out on my socials for that. Speaking of which, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more theme park discussion videos, as well as vlogs from all of my theme park and attraction related adventures, you might want to consider becoming a subscriber. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ADBParker, and on TikTok at AdventuresWithParker. I'm also on Facebook if anyone out there still uses that, and you can just find me by searching Adventures with Parker. As always, big shout out to my patrons for all of the support you guys give me. Thanks to you, I was able to purchase new editing software, and that has just been a huge help when it comes to making these videos. So yeah, you guys are a huge help to me, and I appreciate you so heckin' much. Once again, thank you so much for watching. It truly means the world to me. And until next time, the adventures are calling. See ya! But we do know that they will be the world's first installations of the spaghetti